has self-doubts. So I think it's totally natural to have doubts and fears because learning new things is unknown and scary.
Good morning, happy Monday. I don't think I've ever been so excited for a Monday morning. Welcome in to a week in my life as a writer after leaving my full-time job. We're gonna talk about all of that in just a moment, but first, I need to make breakfast. I'm thinking veggie sausages, a hard-boiled egg, and a piece of cinnamon raisin toast. That sounds really good. Also, guess what the weather is today? Gloomy. Shocking, I know. Smog says good morning. He's been breaking out of his tank like crazy. The glass that's usually on the front of it broke during the move, so he's just been like wandering around. I found him in the kitchen this morning. So he's our bearded dragon. He was originally my boyfriend's, so I'm the stepmom, but I basically feel like his mother. So, okay, let's make breakfast. Breakfast has been made. I'm so hungry. So hungry. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Brielle. I'm a new writer currently working on my first ever novel, which I'm hoping to self-publish, titled Unraveling. It is a new adult fantasy with enemies to lovers romance and dystopian vibes. And this week is a bit of a special week because it is my first week after leaving my full-time job, which we are going to debrief on why I'm jobless, how I'm jobless, what my job was before, what my plans are for this time. But I thought it'd be fun to document this first week. And I'm trying something a little different today. You might notice already with the style of this video. This week, I want to make this more just like a more general week in the life of a writer. Show you guys a little bit more of the lifestyle stuff as I'm settling into Seattle. And I also just really want to have this documented because this is the very beginning of a new chapter for me. Let me know if you guys like this style. And I am literally about to delete Teams off of my phone, which feels like a big moment. Goodbye. No more work messages will be coming through to me. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening. So I spent the past year working in makeup, working in marketing specifically for a makeup brand. I had that job when I lived in LA. It was hybrid. I was going to the office sometimes and sometimes working from home. And it was honestly a very good job. Like it had a lot of flexibility. It allowed me to still have my own life. Like it was not overbearing. It paid well. Like zero complaints about that job. I actually did really enjoy it. But that job was a 1-year contract. I potentially could have been placed at that company if I had stayed in LA, but because I was moving to Seattle, which I've gotten some questions about why I moved to Seattle, it's because my boyfriend actually is doing his PhD here. Yeah, so I basically wasn't able to stay at that job because of the fact that I moved away from LA. So I was in that job for a year. Now I need to look for something else. I am going to be job hunting over the next several weeks, but I'm also going to be sort of treating YouTube and writing as my full-time job. I'm really hoping that by dedicating basically full-time hours to YouTube and writing, I'm able to make really accelerated progress, the type of progress that I would normally only make in several months in a few weeks. It's kind of perfect actually that this period of being unemployed is coinciding really well with pre-nano season because I really do need to go into crunch time before nano in November, basically in order to stick to my plan, which is to draft the sequel during November. With all of that being said, that is the backstory here. So I don't know how long I'm going to not have a job. I'm not going to be utilizing the term full-time writer or anything like that during this time. I did debate it because honestly, it would be great for my content to kind of lean into that term. I'm choosing not to do that because I want the moment where I officially go full-time as a writer to be a moment. And I want it to not be something that just kind of happens. I want it to be, I'm making enough money to sustain myself doing this thing, or I've saved enough money to make this leap. I'm actually going for it and not just something that's temporary because I know that I'm not in a place financially way to sustain this long term unless things change pretty drastically pretty quickly. So just wanted to make all of that disclaimer. I am making money from YouTube, from my stuff that I'm doing. I'm scaling things, but it's not at the point where it could sustain me full time for an extended period of time, if that makes sense. That's all of the context. With that being said, I want to try out a little bit of theming of my days this week. Basically, theming your days is like choosing a focus for each day. A lot of people who work for themselves do this, especially if they have different areas of their life that they need to work on. So I'm gonna try that. My plan for today, Monday, was for it to be a content focused day. There's lots of videos that I either want to film or edit, and obviously I'm vlogging, so that's content related. I do really love a physical plan, a physical to-do list. Smog, he just stopped when I said his name. Go ahead, sir. He just waltzed in here, walked around the room, and now he's leaving. What a menace to society. I love him so much. Okay, so content day. So in terms of things I actually have scheduled, I do have a live stream scheduled with my friend Amina at 4:30 p.m. So I have to keep that in mind. Obviously I'll be doing some writing sprints then, so that will be nice, but also a live stream is content, so it kind of fits the theme as well. I really want to film the second half of a video that I'm working on for this channel, which is reacting to feedback on my novel for the first time. And then there's actually a video for my other channel, Brielle Juliet, that I really want to film, which is a fall TBR, like a TBR jar picks my fall reads type of video. I haven't posted over on that second channel in months, but I have multiple videos that I have planned / want to create. And now that I have a lot more time, I can make them, which is exciting. And then I do want to go to Starbucks to get a fall drink to have for that fall TBR video. My mom did offer to treat me to a drink today, which is very sweet of her in celebration of my first day of being jobless. So get Starbucks drink. I am being very frugal during this time, so I'm pretty much not treating myself to things like that unless it's for a specific social plan or it's like a gift. And then I've been doing like 1 or 2 coffee shop trips a week, but I've really cut back. I used to go out for like a treat almost daily, and we're really scaling that back since I don't have my normal income. And honestly, that's probably all I can do today. I'm trying to get a little bit more realistic on what I can actually realistically accomplish in a single day. And then obviously we're gonna write tonight during the live stream, and then I think I'm gonna make tomorrow a writing focused day. I feel like I haven't been writing as much because I've had this feedback that I haven't yet looked at hanging over my head a little bit. Once I look at all of that, digest those notes, then I feel like I can jump back into the project. But the thought of trying to work on it, knowing that there's feedback I haven't yet looked at, was for some reason throwing me off. So even though the chapters that I'm gonna be working on aren't even the chapters I got feedback on, but I digress. Okay, let's head over to Starbucks, get my fall drink, and then do the filming for the day. Yay. My to-do lists will get cuter, and they usually are cuter, but today, this is what we're working with. We got the macchiato. There's gotta be a smaller straw in my drawer. Jesus. 1 second. There we go. That's much more reasonable. This is my first fall drink of the season. I feel like I haven't really been getting into the fall mood so far. I've been trying to put on like fall lo-fi on the TV and little things like that to try and encourage a fall mood within myself, but haven't really been feeling it yet. So this is kind of nice to get the apple crisp macchiato, which is one of my favorite fall drinks from Starbucks. So good. So sweet. Jesus. Okay, we're gonna stop there because I need to save this for the TBR video. That's the purpose of this drink. I'm gonna make all the little TBR prompts to put in my jar. Hold for macchiato. Let's go get this filmed. Welcome to a fall TBR video, and welcome to my bookcase. All right, now that we've completely gutted my bookshelves for this TBR, let's review what we have on the list. Hello, it's time for lunch. I just filmed the fall TBR video, and I'm now feeling very tired. Filming is one of those tasks that I consider a high energy task, and I wanna actually create lists for myself of what I consider high energy and low energy tasks, because I wanna get more into like energy management and thinking about my day in terms of how can I combine high energy tasks with low energy tasks. Yeah, I consider filming to be a very high energy task. It just takes a lot of energy out of me because I feel like I need to be on top of it. I am still planning to hopefully film the rest of my critique video. And then I think I'll talk to you guys when I'm getting ready for the live stream with Amina. I'm having a blast, honestly. Like the fact that I truly can choose what I'm doing and I'm spending all of my time, like a full workday amount of time working on my passion project, my YouTube channel, my business. Crazy, crazy. Like I truly am getting to experience a taste of my dream life that I've been like talking about for years, where all I wanted to do was run my own creative business and do my own creative things during a weekday. And that was just my job. That was my work. Like I'm experiencing a taste of that right now. And that's crazy. Very much looking forward to getting my paws back in the book project tonight. I'm feeling refreshed and motivated after a bit of a slump in that department. So finish off our day with some writing sprints and a little bit of progress on the book, which will feel really, really good and set us up to hopefully have a writing focused day tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys when it's live stream time. Okay, we're about to head into the live stream with Amina. She's currently on my laptop right there. I literally have 2 minutes until we go live, so I can't talk for long, but I have some thoughts of things I want to try out during this stream because I noticed I've been getting stuck a lot when it comes to draft 2, and I think I'm just nervous. I feel like I'm struggling to work with draft 1 material because I feel like I've evolved as a writer substantially since I drafted this book, and so I want to just see what happens if I approach more chapters from a rewriting lens. Because I just had a call with Mick where we talked about her feedback on my first 5 chapters that I sent her, and she asked me, is this one scene new material in draft 2? And I was like, yes, that is the one scene that is completely new material in draft 2, pretty much. I mean, I took like little snippets of dialogue from a previously existing scene, but I wrote it from scratch. And she could tell. And that just affirms to me like, yeah, I can write better now. So why am I not trying to rewrite more scenes if I know my skill level is better? Maybe I'm struggling to work with draft 1 material because I would just do it differently now. And then if I still like stuff from the draft 1 version of a certain chapter that I rewrite, I can pull the 2 together and find the best of all worlds. The key is just that I need to let myself do things. I can't get frozen when I look at the page because I'm scared of making a wrong choice. Welcome in. Everyone, this is my best friend Amina. Do you want to give us a quick rundown of your project? Where you're at? Very exciting. So yeah, so she's drafting. So something that I've really been trying to work on since entering my jobless era is just being a lot more intentional with my time. And a big part of that has been reevaluating my relationship with my phone. I've been trying to work on making sure that the time I am spending on screen time is something that's meaningful and actually adding value to my life. If this is also something you're trying to work on, then I really want to recommend the sponsor of today's video, which is Imprint. Thank you so much to Imprint for sponsoring this video. Imprint is an app that aims to turn learning into a habit through bite-sized video lessons. Essentially, Imprint is the best way to learn quickly, effectively, and interactively. Imprint provides a science-based, innovative learning experience and is beautifully illustrated and animated to create a very visual, effective, and interactive experience for bite-sized learning. When I first opened this app, I was honestly so impressed with how concise, easily digestible, and just straight up beautiful the lessons in this app are. Imprint offers courses and material on a wide variety of topics, including things like productivity, psychology, philosophy, the science of happiness, health and wellness, and more. The courses that I was specifically most interested in were the science of happiness and Be More Productive, both of which align very well with my goals for this time of being jobless. Imprint is also very time efficient, allowing you to master big concepts in as little as 2 minutes per lesson. To try everything that Imprint has to offer for free for a full 7 days, scan the QR code on screen or click the link in my description. Imprint is also giving my followers a new exclusive offer of 30% off Imprint's annual premium subscription. Thank you again to Imprint for sponsoring this video and helping to support the channel. Now let's get back into the vlog. Good morning, happy Tuesday from me and my iced matcha. It is actually like noon. This morning I had a singing lesson from 9 to 11, so that pretty much ate up my entire morning. So I'm just kind of like getting into working mode now. I set today's theme for a writing day. So we're actually gonna head over to this like little office space, business space that the apartment complex has. If you guys know me and you've seen my writing vlogs before, you know that I really enjoy separation of space, and I feel like it's a lot easier for me to be productive with writing if I go to a separate location. And since I am currently not working and in my frugal era, I thought I would make my own drink and take it over to this sort of neutral third space where I don't have to pay to be there, but I can just utilize it. And it's cute. It has windows. I'll show you guys obviously, but that's my plan. And today I think we're changing my strategy around revising. You know, a lot of entering into draft 2 has been figuring it out as I go because I've never revised before and I wasn't quite sure what my process would look like. At first, I very much had the mindset of I'm gonna do this chronologically, I'm gonna do one chapter at a time, fill in a circle in my little tracker, which let me find that real quick. I made this tracker and I thought I'm gonna go chapter by chapter, I'm gonna fill in a circle each chapter I do, and then my process just kind of went off the rails a bit. I changed up my strategy because I realized that I wanted to do multiple passes on some of these chapters. I wasn't able to get them done in one pass. And so it just kind of got a little messy to the point where now I can't really tell you what chapter I'm on. I'm sort of on chapter 6, but I'm also sort of on chapter 12. I wanted to let myself, you know, do multiple rounds on these chapters. I didn't want to be as strict with myself as I was with drafting in terms of like, get the chapter done and move on. But in trying to give myself flexibility on which chapters I was working on, doing multiple passes, I think I went a little too far. And in an effort to be intuitive, I think I actually started holding myself back from feeling like I was making progress because I don't clearly know where I'm at in the manuscript and it's really messy. I feel kind of stuck, and I think I'm gonna kind of revert to that original strategy a bit and set some parameters around my writing sessions again, because something that I had during the drafting phase that was so helpful was clear, concrete goals. I wanna write this many words, I'm gonna write it in this amount of time. That's that. And I don't have that with draft 2. And I thought I was ready for that. I thought that I could, you know, just kind of throw out the rules and hold myself accountable. I feel like I got a lot of confidence from finishing the first draft that I would just be able to work intuitively in revision. And I think I'm just realizing that I need some more constraints. I need some more pressure in a healthy way. And I need to be more strict with myself of get the chapter done, whatever it looks like, move on. This is only draft 2. I do not need to be a perfectionist about it, especially since I'm going to have more developmental changes to make after I get my beta reader feedback. So it is pointless to tinker with these chapters as if they're going to be done when they still are going to need major developmental edits. All that is to say, I'm going to try out this week giving myself parameters. Going into today's writing session, I'm going to aim to finish chapter 6 and chapter 7, revising both of those chapters for draft 2. And I'm going to tell myself, you're gonna go in there, you're gonna do what you can, and then you're gonna lock those chapters. Because I wanna finish draft 2 for November, I don't have the luxury anymore to do 6 passes per chapter. I really wanna stick with my timeline and just get a decent pass, add a lot to the word count, and move on. So, all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in chapter 3, 4, and 5 here because as we discussed in the last vlog, those chapters are locked for draft 2. And then today we're gonna aim to finish chapter 6, which is mostly done. I've worked on it over 2 live streams at this point, so it shouldn't need a lot more work. And then chapter 7. If we can aim to be working at a pace of 1 chapter revised per day that I write, I think that will be decent. Oh, I started filling in chapter 6. Nope. It's also very funny because chapter 6, where I'm at in the manuscript right now, in the draft 1 version of this book, they were already fully on the journey and they were like deep into the journey. And it's just crazy to see how the 7,000 words that I've added to just act 1 has shifted the chapter numbers to the point where like the old chapter 6 from draft 1 and the new chapter 6 are at totally different points of the book. They're completely unrecognizable from each other. Yeah, we're gonna go to the office space. I'm gonna sit down for hopefully like 2 hours. I'm also gonna try setting like a time goal. And I hope that these concrete goals will give me a little bit more of a sense of accomplishment and just like clear expectations for myself so that at the end of a writing session, I can base my progress not only on how I'm feeling about the quality of the book, because realistically that will vary day to day. Sometimes I'm gonna be feeling really questionable about that. So I don't wanna put all of my worth into just that. I want to give myself positive reinforcement just from, okay, I hit my time goal. I hit my goal of finishing these chapters. You know what I mean? Like I sat down with the manuscript for 2 hours and I worked on these chapters and now that's done. And then I can get a sense of accomplishment from that. Because I'm not doing that right now, I'm not getting that sense of accomplishment. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on this sort of stuff. Like, do you set yourself clear parameters for writing sessions, clear goals of how many words you're getting, how many chapters you're revising, how long you're sitting at the computer? Or are you able to be a bit more intuitive with it and you don't need that type of structure? Let me know, because I really thought I was ready to just kind of like play around in the manuscript, not worry as much about the concrete metrics. And I've just learned that that might not be the case. I need deadlines and I need to force myself to not tinker with it forever, because I could tinker with it forever. And that's the issue. Okay, let's go get our writing on. All right, we've made it down to the business center. Next time I'm just gonna bring my tripod because I have to balance my camera so precariously to get this shot. Precarious has been my new word. Everyone's been commenting that I've been using it a lot. Anyway, I've been here a few times now and I have yet to see a single soul in here, which is great because I was kind of hoping this could be my like go-to spot when I need like a fresh environment. So I feel like this is gonna be really good actually for me to get in the zone. I can't be distracted by anything else in my apartment. And yeah, I'm feeling really optimistic about it. We're gonna get into the writing session. And then afterwards, I'm thinking I'll answer some of your guys' questions. I asked for some questions over my Instagram. So we have some topics we can chat about. It's about to be 1 o'clock. In 2 hours, we're gonna have chapters 6 and 7 done. Done, okay? Done. Last night on the live stream with Amina, I worked on the beginning of chapter 6 and I just reread it and I'm really happy with this. So I thought I would share with you guys a little first draft versus second draft snippet situation. And for context, this is the lead-in to them arriving at the cottage that they're meeting at before heading out on their journey. So journey book, they're gonna head out on their journey. This is them meeting up beforehand. So basically her and her friend Briar are going to meet Varen, the love interest, the male main character, at this cottage, okay? And in draft 1, this is what I had. And I couldn't quite figure out why it was so underwhelming to me, but I felt like it could be better. Okay, let's read it. The cottage wasn't nearly as grand as I would have expected. We'd been walking for hours now, far further from the city than I'd ever ventured. Markovo Street had led us over countless grassy hills, and the heat of September had my hair sticking to the sides of my face. As Briar and I cleared the last rounding apex and set our sights on the cottage, I nearly laughed at the underwhelming sight. A small stone structure that couldn't have contained more than a few rooms, squat and unassuming. I might have thought we'd come to the wrong place, but sure enough, Markovo Street ended at its doorstep. Okay, that's the intro to the chapter. I did really like the visual of the heat making her hair stick to the side of her face, but that was pretty much it. And there was also a lot that I realized wasn't accurate. Like, they wouldn't be walking for hours over countless grassy hills. Based on what I was estimating the distance to be, I figured out it would actually only be like an hour, and they're probably not going over hills. I realized that was unrealistic. Something felt tonally weird about her seeing the cottage and like laughing or like almost laughing. It just doesn't convey much. Like, it's very bland. There's no emotional impact. And what I wanted to achieve was a little bit more tone, a little bit more sense of like forebodingness. Like, they're about to head out on this mission and commit treason, and it seems like they're just casually walking towards this cottage. There's no sense of like tension in the air or like something looming. So that was my biggest gripe with this section. Okay, so now let's go to the draft 2 version, which I think is vastly improved. And I actually chose to start it a little bit earlier when she first meets up with Briar before they head out together, because otherwise I was just kind of like skimming over the fact that the two of them met up. My eyes locked on Briar, standing like a statue in the city center. Amongst the hordes of bustling passerbys, she was a small, stable thing. Her knuckles tightened around her pack, turning white, and her blonde hair swarmed her face and stuck to her cheeks in the September heat. I walked right past her, waiting for the sound of her quiet footsteps following me along the cramped sidewalks. The cover of downtown, the center point of the industrial strip, was as conspicuous a meeting place as we could manage. We followed Markovo Street street, which wove between the houses in the lower curve of the first tier, then veered south away from the estate, all the way to its end. The further we got from the city, the more severe the pounding of my heart in my ears. Every muscle in my body pulled taut as if I were anticipating a flash of emerald to streak across my vision, the tip of a weapon to press into the small of my back. But nobody saw us and nobody stopped us. And eventually we arrived at a small stone structure. The cottage sat where the dirt road devolved into mud-stricken patches of grass, squat and unassuming. Not the type of place I'd have imagined a ruler's son would be familiar with, though I was quickly learning to disregard those assumptions when it came to Varen. So I feel like the descriptions are just much more vivid. There's this sort of sense of tension a little bit more now. We're getting a tiny bit more world building moved in and some more specifics about the city. And I like the visual of like her locking in on Briar, standing still as a statue, like sweating in the heat, surrounded by swarms of like people passing by. I don't know. I just think it does more. Like it does more. There's something there now. And there's like a sense of mood as well. And like actually a sense of her being like scared of being stopped, which I was really struggling to convey before. When I first started tweaking this chapter, when I started revising, I was playing with the idea of basically throwing in a sentence of like, we were really exposed while we were walking, but thankfully no one stopped us. But that doesn't really like achieve a mood in the same way as I was anticipating a flash of emerald to streak across my vision, the tip of a weapon to press into the small of my back. Like we actually get a sense of what physical sensations or sights is she waiting for, like holding her breath for. But I'm hoping it also kind of is consistent with Rhea's characterization in the sense that she's not like an overly anxious person. She's pretty detached, which gives her not the highest regard for her life. She's definitely not as nervous as Briar is, but she still is aware of the gravity of what they're doing. And that's, I think, what this adds is like some sense of gravity of what they're doing. Anyway, I hope that was interesting. That was a comparison between my first and second draft. Okay. Anyway, let's continue working on this chapter, but reading that and seeing that I really like it actually is a great sign and is motivating me to finish chapter 6. She's almost done. She's almost done. And then we're going to move on. Having one of those, oh wait, I actually know how to write sessions, which is always nice. I love longer sessions. I love when I can actually get into the project. I also low-key feel like the tone and the voice is shifting. I think I'm making it feel more adult. I think it feels more heavy in a way. It feels like I wrote a lot in a more comedic voice and with a more comedic air in draft 1. And it's just starting to feel different. I don't know. I feel like it's evolving is the best way that I can put it. Like it's growing into itself almost. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of like a weird way to talk about prose, but I don't know. Things are feeling a little bit magical at the moment, which is great because I don't feel like I felt like that in a while. We did spend about an hour here. What time did we get here? Did we get here at 1 or at 2? Oh my God, yeah. We've been here for 2 hours. Okay, I thought we hadn't. Okay, that feels good. So I hit my time commitment and I have a little flutter of accomplishment in my chest because of that, which is great. I think setting a time chunk goal will be really helpful for me going forward with this revising process because especially when the word count isn't moving and the progress isn't as visible, I think time chunk goals will be a game changer. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's at briellejcruz and I ask for questions over there most often. Feel free to follow me if you want to participate in things like this in the future. And I got a lot of questions, so I'm thinking I'll spread these out in multiple vlogs. So I got a couple questions that were like, when did you decide to quit your job and how? When did you get to the point of knowing you needed to leave your job or could leave it? So I feel like the explanation that I had at the beginning of this video will kind of clear up a little bit the situation because it wasn't a choice necessarily for me to leave my job. It was kind of just an end of contract situation. When the time comes where I actually leave my job to write full time because I'm making enough money from YouTube and other writing related things, I will dive more into how I did that and how much money I was making and stuff when I actually hit that milestone. But since this is just a temporary break from working, not exactly relevant, but I understand why you would have those questions. Hopefully it is clear now. Someone did request an income breakdown, like my income streams outside of work. If that is something that you guys would be interested in seeing, like what income streams are making up my money when it comes to writing related things and like authortube, but like how I'm making money essentially and how much I'm making, let me know. Are you going to try out any full-time writer schedules during your time off? This is a great idea. Thank you, Alyssa, for this question. I should do more of those challenges now that I actually have full days that I could dedicate to writing. writing. So maybe I'll do some more like trying authors' writing routines videos. Like I could do Brandon Sanderson's routine, Neil Gaiman, etc. Now that I literally have open days that I could justify filming things like that. So definitely something that I'll be doing during this time. Do you follow a daily schedule or just go with the flow? I'm still trying to figure that out. I have been liking this whole theming my days concept so far. And I'm liking that I'm letting it be a little more intuitive where I'm only deciding one day at a time. Like I didn't plan out my whole week in advance. It was more so like, I'm gonna pick a theme for today and then I'm gonna see what makes sense to work on most tomorrow. Like I felt like I wanted to get back into writing today, which is why I did today as a writing themed day. Tomorrow I'll probably want to edit some videos, so I might do like an editing themed day. So I'm liking this, and that's giving me just enough structure. And then I am also making sure that I jot down any like things that I have at specific times in my notebook so that I can be clear about when I have like appointments, I have live streams scheduled, etc. Like I had my lesson this morning so that I can still have some semblance of schedule. And I do also think it's helping me that my boyfriend right now is a PhD student, so he leaves in the morning and he comes back in the evening. And I really like having that sort of structure built into my day in the sense that when he gets home, I know it's time for dinner and like a walk and to unwind for the night. And so I'm doing a good job of cutting off my work pretty much when he gets home, which I think is really providing some nice structure for me since the rest of my day is pretty open, which I'm loving having my days open. Don't get me wrong. I know some people are really the type of like, I need structure. I need someone else to tell me what time to do things. I've never been like that. I much prefer setting my own schedule. That's one of the big appeals to me of being self-employed eventually. So I'm liking that I have that aspect, but I would say it's been a mix of scheduling and going with the flow so far. What do you hope most to get out of this time? What are your goals? Before I go back to work, I would love to finish draft 2 of this book. Like that would be ideal. I want to be done with draft 2. I would also love to see some really accelerated growth on YouTube in this time. I would love to have posted a ton of videos. It would be awesome if I could like, I don't know, hit 5,000 subscribers before I go back to work. I don't know if that's like a little unrealistic, but, and I also really want to see my income grow substantially in my time without working. Now that I'm able to dedicate full-time hours to YouTube and writing, and as well as like my critique services business, I want to see what full-time hours can do to my business. Like what sort of growth and like scaling can I see from dedicating more time to this, because I've had the perspective for months that I feel like this is working. I just needed more time to be able to put into it to really get it to take off. And I'm excited to see what more time dedicated to it will do. What's been your favorite part so far? Honestly, I feel so free. Like you guys saw me delete Teams off my phone. I just feel lighter. I feel like I own my own time again. And that is such a good feeling. If I went on lunch before, I would have to, you know, keep my phone near me to check if I get any Teams messages. Just that feeling of being on call is something I'm super happy to be free of, honestly. What's your coffee order? So I'm a matcha girl. So my go-to at a coffee shop, if they have matcha, would be an iced matcha with oat milk, and I get them unsweetened. But unfortunately, a lot of cafes in Seattle do not have matcha, which is messed up. So I also like chais or a decaf iced latte from time to time. That's such a cute question. Thanks for asking. I think I'm gonna cut this off here and I'll answer more of these questions in future vlogs. Thank you guys so much for asking them. I'm gonna screenshot them all right now. Hi. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I skipped vlogging yesterday. I essentially spent the day doing kind of like a mid-week reset, doing a lot of stuff around the apartment and editing videos. We're back for today for another writing focused day. It's already noon. I need to like learn how to make my morning routine not take this long, because I feel like without the constraints of like an official work start time, my morning routine is taking like 4 hours. And I'm like, why? Why is it taking me that long to like do yoga, eat breakfast, shower, get ready? Like I want to work on that. I'm fine with it taking like 2 hours. And I also don't want to like put unnecessary pressure on myself to rush, but I do like the morning. I actually really like working and writing in the morning. So it is what it is. We're ready to start the day. Feeling really good. I want to stick with what we learned really worked on Tuesday, which was setting parameters for a writing session, because I felt really accomplished after that session and I really liked the work that I did. So I think sticking with that and setting specific constraints, making the only requirement that I show up for that amount of time and work on that chapter, I think that's going to help me a lot with psyching myself out around this revision. So goal for today, 2 hours of writing, chapter 7. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any last tweaks to chapter 6 or if I'm just gonna call it. I honestly might just call it. I'm considering instilling a rule of just like, however good I get the chapter in that one day, like that's it. Like cutting myself off there and then saving further tweaks for the next draft. I'm thinking I'll probably just read over chapter 6, try not to touch it, and then go directly into chapter 7. I really am kind of going back into that drafting headspace of once a chapter's done, don't touch it, and using that to make sure that I'm continuing to move forward with this revision. There's a cafe that I actually discovered last night that I really want to check out. It looked really cute. It was obviously closed because it was nighttime, but it looked like an absolute vibe. So I'm gonna go check that out today. Check out another new cafe in Seattle. Let's do this thing. So it came to my attention that I was wearing the exact same shirt in this morning's clip that I was on Tuesday. So we've changed to switch things up a little bit. Writing session went super well. We actually got through chapter 7, chapter 8, and like 75% of chapter 9, which is a great amount of progress for one session. Chapter 7 and 8 were actually like in decent enough shape. I mean, I think that they're a little bland and I want to up-level the prose, but that is not something that needs to happen in this draft. Not to undersell the amount of tweaking that I did, because I definitely did do some tweaking. I think I was there for like 2.5 hours. Whenever I start writing, I truly lose track of time and can never tell you how long I've been doing it. It can feel like 15 minutes to me and it's been like 4 hours, which honestly is such a fun part of it to me. It's like I go into this separate world when I'm focused, like truly nothing else exists to me, which is fun. Feeling really great about the progress that we did. I feel like I finally had the mindset shift that I needed to revise effectively, where I wasn't overthinking too much. I wasn't being a perfectionist. I was just getting through it and working on making improvement by improvement, trying things out, not hyperfixating, just seeing what progress I could make. There were a few times, honestly, where I changed something and realized I preferred the original and reverted it. And I think that that's just natural. That's happened multiple times throughout the revising process. You don't know until you try type of thing. Like sometimes you think maybe a sentence is flawed and could be fixed, and then you end up realizing you were fine with how it was, or maybe you just don't have the right phrasing or way to work with it yet, and you need to wait until later in the process to fix it. So that happened a couple times. I think this system of giving myself parameters is really, really working, and it's something that I want to continue. I actually want to try something a little bit different with my writing approach as well as my schedule next week. I feel like I tried out the theming my days approach this week, and while I liked that, I really want to try out writing daily on weekdays and having maybe a designated time in which to do that. For example, saying 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I write. Like it's a commitment, and going outside of my apartment to do that, whether that's at a cafe or just in the office space or even in the park, just so I can have like a clear designated writing time and get 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. Like that would be really good for my progress, and I would actually probably feel a sense of momentum from writing daily. So now that I'm in this really amazing position of not having a job temporarily, I want to take full advantage of that and increase the frequency at which I'm writing, because I only really wrote twice this week, and while that's like decent, it's not enough to make me feel like I'm really prioritizing writing in the way that I want to, or amping up the frequency with which I'm writing in the way that I want to. That's going to be my approach next week, I think, is a 2-hour slot daily on weekdays. I'm trying not to like stress myself out or put any pressure on myself to immediately have the perfect schedule, because I'm adjusting, I'm learning what schedule works best for me now that I have all of that freedom and flexibility. And I'm glad that I'm trying different methods, and I'm sure I'll continue to gather more information and be able to optimize my routine to get a lot done and to feel fulfilled. I'm basically just trying to find my optimal writing routine and what's going to work for me best. I feel like I really did manage to get in the zone today and really start to feel creative, and the atmosphere in that cafe really helped. Like there was something about it. I honestly really preferred it before a bunch of people came in. When I first got there, it was just me and the barista, and the radio was playing, and it was just like perfect. It felt like I was in a movie. Then a ton of people showed up, so thankfully I was already in flow, so I could just kind of tune all of that out, but it was more of a vibe when it was just me, I'm not gonna lie. And the matcha was decent. I am in fact having a secondary matcha, and you know what? I don't want to hear anything about it. I had lunch and water in between, okay? So I mentioned that this is kind of like a second pass within draft 2 that I'm working on. And we've almost caught up to the point that I was at before, which was I think like chapter 11. So if I finish this tail end of chapter 9 and chapter 10, I'll be fully caught up and ready to embark on like new territory, break into act 2 and start revising act 2 and the rest of this book. So that's feeling really good. I'm feeling like I can do it, which is great. I think for the rest of the evening, it's actually almost 5 o'clock, which feels crazy. I feel like days go by so fast. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. The rest of the evening, I have a critique that I need to work on, and then I think I might go for a little walk. I think I really want to make some cinnamon rolls and do some reading tonight, so maybe I'll do that. This is my life now. That's pretty cool. Even though I have been kind of like making to-do lists and plans for every day, I also just love that I truly can just decide at any moment what I want to do. If you guys have ever been in a period where you've set your own schedule, whether you were self-employed or just had a break from work, and you had, you know, writing and stuff that you were working on, let me know how you ended up structuring that. I know also like a few full-time writers watch this channel, so let me know what your approach is, because I'm still trying to figure out my approach. Since I mentioned a critique that I'm working on, wanted to take a quick moment at the end of this video to mention my critique services. I do offer manuscript critiques. It's an in-depth analysis of things like character voice, pacing, plot structure, dialogue. Think of it as sort of like a middle ground between a critique partner and a developmental editor at a more affordable rate than you would pay for a developmental editor. So if you have a project that's either coming up on being ready for feedback and for developmental editing, or you're hoping to have one get to that stage in the future, maybe you're trying to give yourself an accountability deadline for a project that you're working on now or that you're going to be writing for Nano, definitely check that out. I do book in advance, and I'm booking the entire first half of 2025 now. So anyway, that's my little self promo. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way to the end, comment down below a coffee or tea related emoji, since there was a lot of beverages in this video. And I'll see you guys next time with another one. Bye.